Weather phenomena, but have you ever wondered how it actually happens? Today, we're going to explore the fascinating science behind rain and learn about the process that keeps water moving through our planet, the water cycle. The water cycle is nature's way of recycling water. It involves several key steps that work together to move water from the Earth's surface to the sky and back again. This process isn't just about rain. It's about the journey water takes through evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. Think about the last time it rained. The water falling from the sky may have once been part of a river, a lake, or even the ocean. Over time, that water evaporated into the air, transformed into clouds, and eventually fell back down as rain. It's a never-ending cycle that keeps our planet's water fresh and constantly moving. In this video, we'll dive into each stage of the water cycle, from how water evaporates into the atmosphere to how it condenses into clouds and finally falls back to Earth as rain. Along the way, we'll explore the role of heat from the sun, the cooling effect of the atmosphere, and the way water supports life on Earth. By the end of this journey, you'll understand why rain happens and how it fits into the incredible cycle that sustains life on our planet. So, let's get started and uncover the secrets behind why it rains. The journey of rain begins with a process called evaporation. This is when water on the Earth's surface turns into a gas, or water vapor, and rises into the atmosphere. But what causes this transformation? The answer lies in heat, primarily from the sun. When the sun shines on bodies of water like oceans, lakes, and rivers, it warms the surface. As the temperature rises, the water molecules gain energy and start moving faster. Eventually, some molecules break free from the surface and enter the air as water vapor. This is evaporation. But it's not just large bodies of water that contribute to evaporation. Even smaller sources like puddles, soil, and the leaves of plants release water vapor into the air. This process is called transpiration when it involves plants. Together, evaporation and transpiration help move water into the atmosphere, creating the first step of the water cycle. At any given moment, vast amounts of water are evaporating into the air around the globe. This invisible water vapor rises into the sky, carried by warm air currents. It's an essential step in the journey of water, setting the stage for what happens next. As the water vapor rises higher and higher, it begins to cool. This cooling marks the beginning of the next phase of the water cycle, condensation, where water vapor transforms into tiny droplets that will eventually form clouds. As water vapor rises into the sky, the air becomes cooler and cooler. At high altitudes, the temperature drops significantly. This is where condensation begins, the process of water vapor turning back into liquid droplets. When warm, moist air rises, it eventually reaches a point where it can no longer hold all its moisture. This is called the dew point. At this point, the water vapor begins to cool and stick together, forming tiny droplets of water. These droplets cling to small particles in the air, such as dust or pollen, creating the building blocks of clouds. Thousands of these tiny droplets gather together to form a cloud. At first, the cloud may appear white and fluffy, containing only a small amount of water. But as more and more water vapor condenses into droplets, the cloud grows larger and heavier. Condensation doesn't just happen in the sky. It's the same process that causes water to form on the outside of a cold glass on a hot day. It's all about warm air meeting a cooler surface and releasing its moisture. Now that the cloud is forming, it's on its way to becoming the source of rain. But how do these tiny droplets turn into the larger raindrops that fall to the ground? That's where the next step, precipitation, comes into play. As clouds grow larger, they eventually reach a point where they can no longer hold all the water inside. This is the moment when precipitation occurs. Precipitation is the process where water in the form of rain, snow, sleet, or hail falls from the sky to the earth. Inside a cloud, tiny water droplets collide with each other, merging to form larger droplets. These larger droplets become heavier and heavier, making it impossible for the cloud to keep them suspended in the air. Gravity takes over, and the water begins to fall back to Earth. The type of precipitation that falls depends on the temperature of the air. On a warm day, the droplets remain liquid and fall as rain. In colder conditions, they might freeze and fall as snow or sleet. Rain is the most common form of precipitation, and it plays a vital role in the water cycle. It replenishes rivers, lakes, and groundwater, providing the moisture that plants and animals need to survive. Rain also helps regulate the Earth's temperature by redistributing heat around the globe. As the rain falls, it marks the end of the cloud's journey and the beginning of a new phase of the water cycle. The water that reaches the ground will soon flow back into rivers, lakes, and oceans, ready to start the process all over again. Once rain reaches the Earth, it doesn't just disappear. It becomes part of the next stage of the water cycle, collection. This is where water gathers in various places, ready to begin its journey again. Some of the rainwater flows into rivers and streams, eventually making its way to larger bodies of water like lakes and oceans. This is called runoff. Other water seeps into the ground, replenishing underground reservoirs known as aquifers. These aquifers provide much of the fresh water that humans and animals use every day. Plants also play a role in the collection phase. They absorb water through their roots, using it to grow and thrive. Later, some of this water will return to the atmosphere through transpiration, continuing the cycle. The water that collects in rivers, lakes, and oceans will eventually evaporate back into the atmosphere, starting the entire process again. This continuous movement of water is what keeps our planet's ecosystems alive and thriving. By understanding the collection phase, we see how every drop of rain is part of a much larger system. From evaporation to condensation to precipitation and collection, the water cycle is a perfect example of how nature works together to sustain life on Earth. We've come to the end of our journey through the water cycle, and what an incredible journey it has been. From the heat of the sun, starting the process of evaporation, to the clouds forming through condensation, to the rain falling as precipitation, and finally, the water collecting back on Earth. It's a cycle that never stops. The water cycle is more than just a natural process. It's a vital system that keeps life on Earth thriving. Without it, there would be no rain to nourish our plants, no rivers to quench our thirst, and no oceans to support marine life. It's amazing to think that the same water we use today has been cycling through this process for billions of years, connecting us to the past, present, and future of our planet. What makes the water cycle even more special is how everything works in perfect harmony. The sun provides energy to start the cycle, the atmosphere creates the perfect conditions for clouds to form, and gravity ensures that water returns to the Earth. Each step depends on the one before it, showing us how interconnected and balanced our planet truly is. The next time you see rain falling from the sky, think about the incredible journey that water has taken. It's a story of transformation, movement, and renewal, a story that happens every single day, all around us. Thank you for joining us on this adventure through the water cycle. Stay curious. And remember, science is all around us, waiting to be explored.